New to Planet Coaster 2 and feeling a little lost or overwhelmed by the modular building system? In this video, we'll cover all the building basics you need to know to get started, from moving and rotating pieces to mastering more advanced techniques like angle snap and align to surface. So let's begin, let's dive in. In this video, we're going to focus on all these techniques and how they work on individual objects, and then in an upcoming video, in the next video, I'm going to show you how to create a blueprint with these techniques. Okay, so let's begin. I'm going to go to the Scenery tab, and then I'm going to filter this by crate. I'm going to choose this crate just for our examples, but you can choose any non-gridded piece from the set of pieces that we have. Just so you know, a non-gridded piece has like this little white background, so you will be able to move it freely around the 3D space. In contrast, the gridded pieces, let me find one here. They're usually like in the building menu. Gridded pieces are like this. You will see like a grid in the background, and they will have something called the grid, which will be a little bit more restrictive. You can't just move it around once you've placed it, and it has some limitations with the angles that you can rotate it. So if you see like this blue grid below the piece, that is a gridded piece. You can immediately see it by the background. A non-gridded piece will have a solid white background like these ones, and they will be easy to move anywhere. Great, so now let's filter by crate, and I'm going to choose the Viking Wooden Crate 1. You can choose any one. And let's start moving this piece. First of all, if you are on the basic move mode, you will be able to move the piece freely around the 3D space, and you will see all these different options. I'm going to show you how they work in just a moment, but just know that this is the basic move mode. If you want more precision, you can press X over here to enter the advanced move mode, and this will give you something that we know as the 3D gizmo. This will be your best friend building in any of the Planet games, Planet Zoo, Planet Coaster, because it gives you more precision when handling or moving the object. You have the 3 axes, X, Y, and Z. Basically, if you left click on one of these arrows and then you drag your mouse, you will be able to move the object on that axis, like this, and like this front and back. And if you want to move the object in just 2 of these axes, like in pairs or in a specific plane, in a specific surface, you can click here on the little lines that connect them, like in the straight angle, 90-degree angle. Here, if you click on it, you will be moving the object only in those 2 axes, and the third one will be fixed. This is helpful, for example, if you want to move the object in a wall, which is vertical, but you don't want to move it front and back. Or if you have the object on the ground, like this, and you don't want to lift it up or down, you can just press this one over here, and it will move on that same surface, at that same height or level. And then this one is also helpful depending on where you have your vertical surface or where you want to move the object. I'm going to show you the tools in general, and then we're going to dive into these specific properties and settings that you can find over here. First, we're going to cover the settings related to moving an object. One of them is snap distance. Snap distance is very helpful because it's like creating a grid for us, but it's a free grid that we can adjust to our needs. Snap distance basically gives you a distance for placing objects. It's very helpful if you want to place objects at an even distance, so they will be apart. I'm going to turn off random rotation for now. Just make sure that this is off so you don't get this, because the crate just rotated automatically. Like this, okay? Make sure that you have random rotation off for the tutorial while you're placing the items if you're following me along step by step. Okay, great. Here we have snap distance on, and by default it will be 2 meters apart. So let's say that I place a crate and I want to place another one. It will be apart or separated by 2 meters automatically wherever I place it. It's very helpful for creating even or symmetrical distributions like this. Really nice, right? You can change the distance to 1 meter if you want them to be closer, or you can increase that to 4 meters if you want them to be further apart, like this. It's really up to you. Awesome, so now we're going to toggle this off. Now we're going to talk about the axes. Why? Because when you enter the advanced move, You will also see this setting over here, axes. You will see relative and you will see world axis. These are the two options, and you can also toggle this in this button over here. World, you can see this one is use world axis or use relative axis. Right now they're both the same, so you will see the gizmo in the same position because you only have one object selected. However, let's say that I place two objects here and I select both of them by dragging and dropping with the box selection, like this. Now, if I want to enter an advanced move, I press the X key on my keyboard and now I do see a gizmo, but the gizmo is a little bit different. If we press this button or we change it here to world axis, you can see that the axes are different. Why? Because the relative axes are trying to find the middle point between the objects and just giving you like a tool that is helpful to move the objects in their current position. So basically if they're on a wall, they would be like more aligned to the wall, or if they're in a strange angle, then they would be aligned to that angle where you would want to move the objects. So it's basically trying to find like the middle point between the objects in the selection. But the world axis is always the same. Usually you would like to build on the world axis and then move your objects wherever you want to place them in your park. Just a suggestion, it's much easier and consistent to use the world axis. Awesome, so here we go. Here we have our little crate. Now, if you want to move the object after you've placed it, you just need to press M over here. This is the keyboard shortcut. You can also click here to move it. Now we go to the align to surface and stick to surface options. Okay, so let me show you this. Let's say that for these examples I'm going to get a wall. It can be any wall. I'm going to get this brick wall. And then I'm going to search for a sign. I'm filtering the pieces here by the sign word. And then I'm going to look for a sign. Let's say I love the gelato, like this. You can see that by default, this is not attaching to the wall. It's not aligned to the wall in any way. So what I can do to make my life easier, instead of having to rotate this and make sure the angle is okay or turning on angle snap, I can just enable align to surface. The keyboard shortcut for this is V, like this. If I toggle this on, you can see what happens here. This is automatically aligning to the surface that I'm currently pointing at with my cursor. So I can place a sign very easily over here. Really nice, right? That is aligned to surface. You can toggle it on or off with the V key, like this. You also have another option, stick to surface and snap to position. The snap to position is very helpful. Let's delete the gelato for now, and let's say that I want to build a taller wall, like this one. I want to have this wall, but I want to have it like on top of the other one, or perfectly aligned. Well, if I didn't know that snap to position was an option, what I would do probably would be moving the object with the control key. With the control key, it gives you the option to move the piece horizontally, front and back and right and left, okay? Or I would press shift like this to lift it up. Once it's up, I can enter advanced move and then move it right here and then try to align it vertically and horizontally, but that would take me a lot of time, right? I would have to make sure that it's correctly aligned in the 3D space, and sometimes that is needed. However, we do have an option that can make our lives much easier. I'm going to duplicate this piece with Control D. Control D will be one of your best friends in the game. Control D duplicates the piece that you currently have selected or the group that you have selected. We're going to talk about groups in just a moment, but they're basically just sets of pieces that you group together. So I'm going to turn on snap to position, and you can see that we have like these little white dots in the pieces. Those are like key parts of the piece where you can snap other objects to. And here you can see this. It's super helpful, super nice, like this. Snap to position, and you can see how quickly I'm building this, and this is not a gridded piece, but it is making my life much easier right now. So you can see that I just built a huge wall that I can then duplicate. Let's say that I want to duplicate it with Control D. And then I can rotate it with the C key. With the C key, you rotate the piece 90 degrees, like this. I'm pressing C once, then C twice, C 3 times, and 4 times if you want the 360-degree turn. And then I can just place it over here, and I have a huge wall. I would need to adjust this one a little bit to perfectly align it. Like this. Awesome. And now I have a huge wall with the entryway. It's very helpful, and let me show you another example where snap to position is really nice with the pipes. Let's say that we have this pipe over here, and I want to add another pipe. I have snap to position on, and it's as easy as this to build the pipe system, like this. If it's not in the right angle, of course, I can take that piece, snap it to position, and then rotate it. And that takes me to rotation. Rotation is very helpful as well because you can change the angle of the piece. You just need to take the piece, then press X to enter advanced move, press X again to enter advanced rotate, and then you move it, like this. If you want to snap it to a specific angle, you can turn on angle snap. Angle snap will give you like increments, and you can toggle it off or on to get specific angles. Let's say that I want to move by 45 degrees because that will be helpful to have a 90-degree angle here that I need. And that just moved it very easily and quite precisely. So now that we're talking about rotation, let's talk a little bit more about rotation. I'm going to search for something. Let's say that I'm grabbing this little cute crab, one of my favorite pieces from the resort theme. So I'm going to take this crab and I'm going to rotate it. I'm going to press X until I reach this tool, the advanced rotate tool. The advanced rotate tool will have 3 rotation gizmos in different axes, and you can use them individually to rotate the item. You can disable angle snap for a smooth rotation like this. And you can also rotate it around like this and like this, but be aware that as you rotate the object, the gizmos will also rotate to stay relative to the piece's location. You can also toggle relative axis or world axis like this. Awesome! To rotate the object 90 degrees, you can just press the C key and it will rotate relative to the ground, to the surface, like this. And after we go to rotation, now we have to talk about scaling, like this. Scaling is also super helpful. Let's continue with our little crab here. And for scaling, there are a few tricks. If you grab a piece and before you place it, you press the C key like this, you will be scaling the piece up or down based on how you move the mouse. If you want to scale it up, you move the mouse backwards. If you want to scale it down, you move the mouse to the front, like this. You can also see that this is changing the scale here. You can write the scale manually as a number, or you can use the slider over here. Really nice. But if you want to have a little bit more precision, you can go to the advanced scale tool like this, and then you will see the scale gizmo, and you can drag it to scale it up or drag it to the middle to scale it down like this. Really nice and precise. And finally, let's talk about buildings or groups. I'm going to show you this with an example of a table, a picnic table. Let's say that I have some pathing over here. And here I'm going to find a table. Let's say one of these tables. I wanted to have some space for a canopy. Yeah, this one. I'm going to choose the Viking picnic table and I'm going to place it down. Yes. If I grab this one, the Viking picnic parasol, let's say that I want to add it to the table. Well, if I don't have snap to position on, this is what happens. I place it on top of the table and I have to manually adjust where it's located, and that may not be so precise, and then I may have to start playing around with the location and with advanced move. But if I do turn snap to position on, look what happens. It's perfectly aligned to the center of the table. I use this all the time in Planet Coaster and I highly recommend it. So what happens if I want to move this table? Let's say I want the table and the parasol to move. Well, if I press the M key to move it, well, the table is the only one that's moving. How can I move the entire set of items over here, the parasol and the table? I have two different ways. Let me expand the path so we can move this a little bit further. I'm going to use a stamp builder over here. Well, I can use multi-select, like this, multi-select. I just drag and drop, and this will take me to the multi-select tool. Right now, after one of these updates, one of the latest updates that we got, we can select what type of items we want to select. I don't want to select the path, so I toggle this off, and basically, yeah, I don't want facilities, but I think paths will be enough for now, so I click on apply filters to selection, and this updates the selection, so I'm selecting the two items. Now if I press M, I can move it like this. Or if I want to move it more precisely, I can press X, and this will give me the gizmo for the entire set of pieces. But this will not be permanent. I will need to select the entire set of pieces every time I want to move it. What if I want to group them? Well, if I want to group them, I can create a group or a building. Once I have those pieces selected, I click here, create new group, this little button over here with the tree and the plus icon. I create a new group, and once I create the new group, you will see this like grayed out, and then if I press the right mouse button to exit the multi-select tool, and I click on this one, click on any piece of the set, I can see the scenery group 1. You can rename the group, let's say Viking table. We know that it's a table with a canopy, but just to write a concise name, Viking table. And I can see edit scenery group. This is what we call this set of items in Planet Coaster, a scenery group. If I want to make any changes to the scenery group, I can edit the scenery group like this one. You will see a orange border around the screen, and this is how I can start editing my scenery group, and there I can select the individual items. I will record a tutorial specifically on scenery groups so you know all the details, but this is just a basic introduction to the concept. And once we're done editing, we can click on done. If we want to change any of the colors of the pieces here in the scenery group, we can go here to advanced settings, and it will show us all the color slots that we have here. So basically, if I want to change this to purple, if I want to change this to... yeah, I will definitely need to think about the colors a little bit more, but yeah, we can basically do whatever we want here. Really nice, so we don't have to edit the scenery group, we can just change the colors if we need to. We also have the option to ungroup the scenery. If we just grouped it and then we want to ungroup it, we choose ungroup, and then we will have the individual items again, and they will keep their changes. Awesome! I'm making them a new group again. And you can save your group as a blueprint. We will talk about blueprints in an upcoming tutorial on the channel, so stay tuned. Awesome, I hope you liked this tutorial and found it helpful. In an upcoming video, I'm going to show you how I created this blueprint with the aquatic pieces. So you can practice your building skills and practice everything we've learned so far in this basic tutorial. So I will see you there, and thank you for watching. Have an awesome day!